Hi and welcome back to the ClickUp tutorial series. I'm Sarah from We Love PMO, and I'm just going to do a really quick recap on some of the bits we've looked at already. But in this video, what we're going to be looking at is how to capture and track time estimate and time that has actually taken place. And then we're going to have a look at timesheets. So how, if you're managing a team, how do you set up timesheets for approval? What does that process look like as somebody that's submitting a timesheet, but also what does that look like from the person that is approving them, and how that you do change requests. So this is our test project that we've been using throughout these tutorial videos. So we've already had a look in regards to how you set up the life cycle stages. We've talked about how you set up the subtasks. We've also talked through checklists, and we've also talked through the columns that we have here, I think through assignee to due dates and priority. But the two columns that we're focusing on today are the time estimate and the time tracked. So with the time estimate, this column is really helpful, particularly if you have a number of different people who are working on a team with you, so your project team, and you are delegating tasks out, or there's a number of people who are responsible for certain elements of the project depending on the life cycle of it. And the time estimate, so you as the manager could be putting in what you think that, how long it would take for that particular task to take, or perhaps it's what you have budgeting for, that it needs to be done within this hour or 2 hour window. And you can also ask obviously your team to estimate how long they think it's going to take them to complete it. So all they need to do, or you need to do in regards to how putting in the time estimates here, is if you click into, so we use this one example, scope and definition document, and then you just click in where it says time estimate, and then they can type in. So let's just say, okay, scope and definition document, we think this is going to take 3 hours, and then press return. And that sticks 3 hours in there. Just scrolling down, like, okay, raid log, actually I think that's going to take longer than an hour, so let's just update that to 2 hours, and you can see that it updates there. So that's really handy to sort of give you an overview of how long certain elements are going to take of a particular project. Now over here, the time tracked, so there's two ways that you can track time. So I'll just click into the kickoff meeting one as an example. So over here you've got this little play button. So what you can do, so if I hit it, this is tracking time live. So you can have that, we can have ClickUp open in the background, and they've got the time tracker going actually live as they're working on it. Just obviously need to make sure they remember to hit that stop button as soon as they've finished. So that's one way that you can add the time. Another way that you can add the time is adding the time in manually after the task is the time that you've spent and on that task has passed. So let's say, for example, we've done 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that's added it, so you can see it's automatically tallied that up because you press return. But just going into that, I'm going to add just another hour, okay? But before I close it down, I just want to draw your attention here. So say we wanted to add that 1 hour, but actually that's not today, that's not this evening that we've done that. This was actually on Thursday last week, and this was actually at 2 o'clock in the afternoon that I started that. So you can actually go in and put those details. If I want to add any notes on here, so apologies, forgot to hit tracking button. Anything can go on here. You can do that. If there's any tags that if you want to have added against this particular task, you can add in. And then this little button here is really important too. So perhaps you have certain work, particularly if you've got retainer clients, and maybe some work that you're going to be doing is billable, but some of it's non-billable, and you want to be able to break that out and capture that against individual tasks. So if we say the raid log actually is a non-billable task, we would leave it like this. So I'm just going to hit save. However, if the planning workshop, for example, so I'm going to add an extra hour on here. I'm going to say that this was Tuesday last week, and we started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but this is billable. So we would hit this little toggle here, and then it switches to green. So yeah, all the time is tracked here, and also the other nifty sort of thing. So here we've got Raid deep dive meeting. So I'm logged in as myself at the moment, but Sarah X has asked me if I can enter some time on her behalf because she's not been able to get into the system today, and she's actually done 3 hours, and I know from what she told me that that was from midday today, and this was billable. So you can actually add time that's tracked on behalf of your team members as well. Okay, so we'll just so make sure, yeah, so we're happy that we've got all the time tracked. Perfect. So now what we want to do is have a look at how do we set up a timesheet and how do we set that up for approval from our team members. So if I just get your eyes to come across here into this left hand column, and you see where it says timesheets. If we click timesheets, it takes you into this place. So this is helpful. This shows me my own hours so far. So this is showing me that I've done 3 hours and 50 minutes so far this week, and it's breaking it down into the different tasks that I've done. But we're not interested in our own time. We're interested in setting up the timesheets for our team and also setting up an approval process. So on the top here, you can press, so if I go to all timesheets, so you can see some of our team here, but look, there's like Sarah, this Sarah here, it's got nothing against it, but I know there's work that they've done. So press approvals, and you'll see that we haven't got this set up yet. So no submissions to review. So if we hit set timesheet approvals, and we can set the deadline of when we want team members to submit their timesheet for. So I think Friday is good time, and actually I want to change that to 5:30 p.m. I want a notification, a reminder to go out 24 hours before. That's brilliant. And also I just want to send a reminder 12 hours after, just in case they've forgotten. And when we press save, and it takes you to this screen here. So what we want to be doing, so you'll see that I'm going to delete this because I've already done this already, and I'll redo it so you can see in real time. So when you go in, you'll have a blank screen like this, and what you want to do is to add your team members. Okay, so you go into the top, and you'll see here that you've got the various different teams. So this is me, where it says Sarah, and these are my other 2 team members, Sarah's as well. So let's go with Sarah X. So let's choose her. Let's add her in. Okay, and the approver is going to be me. I'm going to be the one that's approving that. So you go through this step by step, adding all your team members in, and then adding yourself as an approver. So then once you've done that, it will look a bit like this. So you can see, okay, this is my team who are the people that are submitted, and these are this is the person that is going to be approving it. So what we need to do now is start to have a look at what this looks like from a team member's perspective. So I've now logged in as one of my team members. So I've logged in as Sarah X, and what I'm going to do is I have hit timesheets, okay, and I am going to submit the week before. So I'm just having a look through and just checking. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So it's saying that I've done 9 hours and 15 minutes. And if I hover across these, you can see, so for example here, Monday, October 13th, it's showing me that I did 3 hours. And also the way that I've got the capacity set, which is a 40-hour a week capacity, it's showing me how much remaining capacity that I've got, how much time I've tracked, based off this particular task, and how much of it was billable and non-billable. So this whole 3 hours is billable. This whole 2 hours here that I did is showing that this was non-billable work, and then over here for the 4 hours 15, you can see that it's showing you a breakdown between billable and non-billable. So yeah, so I'm happy with that. I'm just going to go to this week, and so yeah, 2 hours or 1 minute, 3 hours. So yeah, I'll be like, okay, I'm absolutely happy about that. So you'll see here it says not submitted. Okay, so for this week, this timesheet hasn't been submitted, and there's a little blue button here that says submit for approval. So when your team member has gone through, they feel like they've added in all the time tracked, they can then submit their timesheet for approval when it's due by, which would be on Friday. I'm just pretending it's a Friday for this video. So you hit submit for approval. It then sort of asks you, to check that you're happy to submit this, and actually overall we're looking at 5 hours, and then you press submit. And then you'll see here at the top that it says pending. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is log back into the approver's account, and I'm going to show you what that looks like from the other end. So let me just, too many screens open, and there we go. Okay, so I've logged back in as the approver. Now I just want to take your attention here in the left hand column. Can you see that underneath timesheets here there's like a number 1? So that's letting me know as an approver that there's a timesheet that needs to be approved. So if we click into timesheets, okay, and then at the top here we can see it says approvals and a 1. So if we click on the approvals, okay, and we can then, if we can see that there's a timesheet that's come in from Sarah X, and actually there's a little button there that we can press to review. So it's showing me that there's 5 hours worth there of billable time, and you would have a look through, and then if there's something that's like, you know what, I don't think that's right, there's a change that needs to be made. So for example here, raid log, I don't believe 1 minute would have been spent on the raid log. Okay, so what we do is we click where it says request changes, and then you'll say, okay, to your team member, please can you check the times are correct against the raid log and resubmit for review, and then press request changes. Okay, and then when you do that, what you'll see at the top here is that it says changes needed. So if we go back in now to the team members account, we'll see what that looks like from their side. Okay, so I've logged back in as the team member, and I can see in my inbox there's a few different notifications under important, and one of them showing me that it's my timesheet, and please can you check the times are correct against the raid log and resubmit for review. So okay, so let's go and check this out. So we press more, we go to timesheets, and now it says changes needed, and we know it was to do with the raid log. Okay, right, well actually it wasn't 1 minute, it was 2 hours that we needed to put in. So let's add the extra 2 hours on top, and it should have been billable, and we press save. And then here, so we can see that it's updated to 2 hours, we want to resubmit for approval. Okay, so we hit submit for approval, and we wanted to resubmit the previous, because we're going to resubmit the whole, because if you press this one it's just going to show the one line that you've updated, but it's better to just resend the whole timesheet through. So click resubmit previous time entry. So yes, instead of 5 hours it's now 7 hours, which is correct, and press resubmit, and we can see it says pending. Okay, so let's go back into the approvers. Okay, so I've logged back into the approvers account, and we can see here again next to timesheets we've got a number 1. So we click into timesheets, we go to approvals, and we want to go to the review button, and yep, now we can see, yep, okay, the raid log doesn't say just 1 minute anymore, it says 2 hours. So that, to me, yep, that all looks correct, and I'm happy to approve it. To approve, we then press this button up here to press approve. There's no comments to add, but you can add extra comments if need be, and then we press approve. And that is how you add time as an estimate, how you track time, either live or retrospectively, and how you also set timesheets up for approval on what that process looks like. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If it has, do give that a like. It really helps to put it in front of more people that would find these tutorials helpful. Do drop a comment below if there's anything you would like a tutorial on within ClickUp, and I look forward to talking through some more tricks and tips in ClickUp in the next video. Thanks for joining me.